It's my privilege to now introduce Senator Natalie Murdock from District 20 in Durham, who is a primary sponsor of Senate Bill 15, North Carolina Adopt ERA. Senator Murdock.
All right, thank you so much for that introduction, and it's just so great to be here with all of you and to stand with you in solidarity and picking up on the theme of Buncombe County. Before coming back to the Triangle to serve Durham, I was in Asheville for 5 years, and so Asheville will always be near and dear to my heart. That's where I got to meet the fabulous Senator Terry Van Don. Again, have to give her a shout out. We miss her dearly and was just honored to serve alongside her in the Senate for some time, and thrilled that she is still active, still keeps us up to date, as well as Lori and all the organizers and all of you that continue to beat the drum for ERA. I'm thrilled to stand here with all of you in my white and green as we continue to push for the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment. I'm State Senator Natalie Murdock. And upon my election to the General Assembly, I was actually the first Black woman under 40 to be elected to the General Assembly. As a member of the statewide ERA coalition before becoming a senator, I jumped at the opportunity to serve as a primary sponsor for the ERA here in North Carolina so that we can finally get it ratified. And also, a lot of the groundwork has been done for me due to the phenomenal speakers that preceded me, but we often get asked, why are you still at this? You know, Virginia already did it. We've checked that box, and the fact of the matter is we have to keep fighting. We don't know what could happen at any time. All states should continue to move forward to push forward for ratification because we simply don't know, and also because it's the right thing to do. Why are we going to give up just because Virginia beat us to the punch? We're still going to move forward, and we are going to get this done. So we need to continue working for ratification here in North Carolina and need to stand up for equal opportunity for all people. I'm proud to work with the ERA-NC Alliance to pass this very important and critical amendment that's important to all of us. There are over 4.2 million women in North Carolina, and I'm sure that number is higher. We just have more census numbers. So over 4.2 women in North Carolina, none of them have full equality under the U.S. Constitution or the North Carolina Constitution. I asked my colleagues in the General Assembly, how much longer must women wait? We are tired of waiting. Today, we will also talk about the inequalities women continue to face each day. These include not being paid equal and fair wages, not having access to reasonable accommodations in the workplace when pregnant, and women of color face hair discrimination each and every day, as well as discrimination in maternal health. So I'm obviously a woman of color, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the inequities that we face and have faced for years, even when we follow the suffrage movement. I'm a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and the reason that I mentioned that is all of my founders marched for suffrage in their white dresses, every single one of them. So have to highlight them, and that was a big part of why I wanted to join that sorority. But the fact of the matter is, Black women did have to wait a lot longer to even have the right to vote. So I do want to talk a little bit about Black maternal health, which is an issue that I have really been laser focused on. That's why myself, Senator Batch, and Silver Salvador in the Senate filed the NC Momnibus, as well as Representative Julie Von Hafen, who is here today in the House. North Carolina ranks 39th in infant mortality, and Black babies are more than twice as likely to die than white babies. We need to give these babies a chance once they're out of the womb. The COVID-19 pandemic has made things worse. We all know we are still battling this pandemic each day. More than 83,000 pregnant women in the United States have been diagnosed with COVID-19, and more than half were women of color. New data confirms what we feared. Having COVID-19 while pregnant can impact your ability to have a healthy birth. For decades, the U.S. maternity mortality crisis and morbidity rates have gone up and gotten worse for all mothers, but especially for Black women and Latinx women whose health outcomes are farther compounded by systemic racism and structural racism. The status quo is simply unacceptable. which is why policymakers in Congress, like Representative Alma Adams and the state legislature and across the country, have drafted and introduced bills like the Black Maternal Health Momnibus Act. The federal act is a 12-part bill that centers Black women and will fill gaps in existing legislation to comprehensively address every dimension of the Black maternal health crisis in America. With the Momnibus, we've designed a roadmap to help our healthcare system and our providers, regulators, lawmakers, and society to finally make Black maternal health and infant health a priority for all people. And that includes our physicians. And back to the piece about COVID-19, our state legislation says, let's study the very unique impact that COVID-19 has on pregnant women, which is why we need to move forward with this bill. It is not too late. We are in the middle of the budget process. If you are unable to get bills through, what we all know is in the budget, you still can get policy changes in the budget, so it's not too late. In order to save Black mothers and other marginalized pregnant persons, we must do all we can to pass the Momnibus in Congress, here in North Carolina and California, and every single state across the country. I'm thrilled to say that through partnering with Congresswoman Alma Adams, we are only the second state behind California that has filed a state-level Momnibus, so that is something to be proud of. So as we fight for the ERA, as we continue to draw attention to inequality in society, I ask you to add Black maternal health to your list. We are all stronger when we are together. These are issues that will take all of us. I see a very diverse crowd. It will take a coalition of everyone fighting together. Also have to add in closing, just turned 37 years old, and this is a movement that predates me. And the reason I'm mentioning my age is, why are we still fighting for something that we should have been given years ago? So I just have to highlight that. So many of the battles, whether it's the right to vote, the ERA, just basic equal protections that people should have, we are still fighting those battles. All of you, I am sure, have been marching probably since the 60s and 70s. So just want to highlight, I am honored to stand on your shoulders and to know that the mantle and the torch has been passed. We will continue to carry this mantle, and we will continue to fight for full passage of the ERA.